Welcome to our live stream.
Hi there, I am so glad that you're joining me for this FestivalSouth Artie event. My name is Ivy Bell, and I am the creator of Artie the Paintbrush. Around 15 years ago, I pulled out my sketchbook and Artie came to life. At this time, I was a kid, probably a lot like you. I loved all areas of the arts, from singing and dancing, to playing musical instruments, to drawing and painting. I felt like the arts truly made me who I was, and that's why I created Artie, to make sure that kids just like you were exposed to the arts in hopes that you may develop a love and passion for them like I did. I hope that you have fun and learn something new during this Artie event, and maybe see, hear, or experience something that you never have before.
Thanks, Ivy, for creating Artie all those years ago. Because of your vision, we've been able to have so many Artie events for kids during FestivalSouth over the years. My name is Jennifer Clark. I've been the Youth Programs Coordinator for FestivalSouth for many years, and we are so excited to have you joining us this year. Even though I can't see you in person like we usually do, we're gonna see you virtually. We have tons of events this season, but you get to see us by camera. So we're kind of excited. We get to see some things that you may not normally get to see during our regular events. So you're gonna meet a lot of different artists and performers this season. So we hope you'll watch these videos time and again. Tell your friends, tell your teachers. You can watch them in your classroom, you can watch them at home. So we hope you enjoy this season. Today we're gonna meet several artists that have been part of Hattiesburg's Public Art Project. So if you've seen these art pieces all over town, today you're gonna meet the artists behind them. So we're so excited to have you this year. Watch the videos throughout June, and hopefully we'll get to see you in person next year. Enjoy.
Hi everybody, my name is Kristen Brock and I'm the director of the Hattiesburg Alliance for Public Art. And I am so happy to share with you some of the creativity that we have right here in our community. Did you know that we have more than 40 pieces of public art across the city? We've made it easy for you. At HAPA, we have created the Hattiesburg Public Art Trail. It has a map inside that lists all of the art stops across Hattiesburg, and you can pick one of these up at hotels and shops and restaurants across the city, or at our office at the Hattiesburg Train Depot. You can also go to Hattiesburg Public Art's website, which is hattiesburgpublicart.org, and download a copy for yourself. So have fun exploring your city, and we can't wait to see what all you're able to discover when you go on your adventures. You can also follow us on social media. Use our hashtags, hashtag HburgArt, hashtag ArtHburg, and hashtag Murals of Hburg, and share with us what we can see through your adventures. Have fun!
When I was little, when I was in the 3rd grade, my grandparents lived right next to the primary school in Columbia. And after school, I would go to my grandmother's house and wait for my mother to come pick me up. Well, she had cardboard and pencils. And what I did was I took cardboard and I would draw pictures like I have it today, and it's 50-something years old. I drew a picture of a surfer, and then I took some scissors and cut it out, and then I cut another piece and another piece, and I made 3-dimensional art. So it wasn't like I just drew, it was like I drew on a piece of paper, and then I made it into something like that. And I actually make things today to get to that stage out of cardboard and tape. And that's what I did. And so I still do that today, even though it's been a long time. That's how I got started in sculpting. I was in an art show in Scottsdale, Arizona, and a man that is an alumni of USM came and told me he's a client of mine. And he said, hey, we're doing a project behind the Ogletree Alumni House at Southern. Why don't you stop by there and tell him, his name is Bill Phelan, said, why don't you stop by there and tell him you're a sculptor? So I did, and they said, okay, can you make a little mock-up? So I made a mock-up on cardboard like I did when I was in the 3rd grade, and I made another little thing to put on top of it, and I said, this is what I want to do. The mascot at University of Southern Mississippi is a golden eagle. That's a golden eagle. And so they told me, we want a golden eagle with his wings spread out, and we're going to put it on a fountain. So I made a little mock-up, and we showed it to the people in charge, and they said, oh yeah, that's just what we want. So I went home and made a small one out of clay and showed it to them, and they said, oh, that's great, that's just what we want. Then I went home and I started making out of clay that right there. Then I take it and I take it to a foundry, and they pull molds on it and they cast it into bronze. The name of that piece is To the Top, because that's what the University of Southern Mississippi uses for their with their logo. It's what they do. So that's where that came from. And if you come ever look at him, he's got big talons. They're all sharp and pointy, and he's got a pointy nose. And then his wings, his feathers, if you can see the feathers, they're just all kind of flying off like a bird would have it. So that's really neat. And normally the fountain's flowing, but today it's not. But that's bronze, it's metal, and that weighs probably over 200 pounds. But it's hollow, and it's very strong. So it will be here for years and years and years and years. This is Miss Osceola McCarty. Miss McCarty was a washerwoman. She washed clothes for people, and she ironed their clothes way back a long time ago. She would iron the clothes, and she worked for a lot of people, and she saved her money. In fact, she saved so much money ironing clothes that she gave a lot of money, $150,000, to the University of Southern Mississippi. And if you ever get a chance to see her in person, you'll notice that her hands, even with the photographs, her hands are very worn. They're very old, and they're a washerwoman's hand. She worked with her hands. That's why her hands look like they do. But her smile is what gave her away, and that's her. She was the sweetest, dearest lady. I never met her, but she's got her Bible in her lap. That's what she has in her lap. In fact, a big building on campus here is named after her. So they honored her by hiring me to do this sculpture. And you can come and sit, if you ever get to come here, you can sit in this chair that I'm sitting in and get your picture taken with Miss Osceola McCarty. This is a sculpture of Vernon Damer. Vernon Damer died in the civil rights movement in 1966. Vernon Damer lived outside of Hattiesburg between here and Laurel. He had a lumber mill. He had a cotton farm, he had a general store, and in that general store he did something. He signed people up to vote. And if you come down here and look at it, you'll see this big sign here, and what he's remembered for is for saying, if you don't vote in all the elections, like when people go to vote for the governor or the mayor or the president, he says, if you don't vote, you don't count, because that's how America learns, has its leaders, is we vote for them, and if you don't vote for the leaders, then you may get somebody you don't want. Vernon Damer, if you look right up here, his wife told me that he talks with his hands. That's why his hands are like this. And she said he would talk like this and talk like that. And I don't know how you talk. Maybe you talk like that, but maybe you see somebody when they talk, they wave their hands around. Well, that's what Mr. Damer did. Now, if you get your mama or somebody to bring you down here, I'm gonna tell you a secret, and you can tell her. Now look, right here on his buttons where the thread is, it's a V. The thread make a V to hold his buttons on, and that's the secret. It stands for Vernon, a V for Vernon. So don't tell anybody, but if you come down here, you can tell them you know a secret. This is Andy. Andy is a Cocker Spaniel. Andy is a real dog that lives about a block from here. His mother, his owner, would walk him over here, and the way I sculpt is, Andy was in clay. He was a big block of clay, and I sculpted all this. You can see his legs and all right here. And we would set Andy up in the back of my pickup truck bed, and I sculpted the clay, and I would measure Andy, and he was a very good model. He just stood there and let me take pictures of him and measure his ears, see his ears. There, it looks like Andy, and he was a very good model. He would stand there, and that's how I made Andy. I sculpted in clay, then I take it to a place, and this is bronze. Can you hear that? It's metal. And they make molds off of the clay, and then they cast it in bronze, and that's how we get Andy. And he can stand out here at the dog park, and he meets everybody that walks up. If he could bark, I'm sure he would. So I like Andy. He was a very good dog.
My name is Andrea Kostyál, and I grew up and born in Hungary. So I moved to the United States like 20 years ago. So I was a very shy little girl. So I always find art calming, and I always find art is like my voice, because I was too shy to talk. And since then, keep creating and showing and selling my art. Part of my New Norm series, it's like a continuous work of the We Are in This Together paintings. So recently during the pandemic, figures wearing masks appeared in my cityscapes. And this painting is one of the We Are in This Together paintings, where I painted figures with different ethnicity and race and religion walking to downtown Hattiesburg together, as I imagine we all walk through this pandemic together. So this utility box project was an open call with the Hattiesburg Alliance for Public Art, and I created this design the similar way as the mural. I came by and I was thinking about the environment where to fit the design in. So this is Hope. She's you already know her from my previous mural design. And she is reading a book about education and equality. I quoted famous artists about education and equality, famous figures.
Hey guys, my name is Kim Garraway Braley, and I just want to welcome you to all this fun stuff we're going to introduce you to today. When I was a little girl, we lived with my grandmother, and she was an artist. And her mother was actually. And she really just had a big influence in my life. We'd sit around the kitchen table and do homemade Play-Doh. We would draw. My mother was very influential in making sure that I had all of my materials there to work with. I never really had a lesson until I was 18. So basically, you kids that are out there with lots of materials in your kitchen, use them. Just explore, have fun. You don't have to have formalized lessons to start out with. It's basically just playing around with some of the tools. And I just fell in love with art. I remember my grandmother asking me when I was 4 years old, she said, "What do you want to be?" And I said, "You know, I want to be an artist, and I want to take care of animals." Well, you can't do both because they both take a lot of time, but I found a way to do both. So what I do is I paint every day, and I sell artwork every day, Monday through Friday, And then after I get through with work, I rescue animals. In fact, when I get through with this video, I've got a baby bird that I just got a call on that I'm headed to go pick up. I have possums and raccoons and all the fun critters that you're gonna see in your color sheet that I did for you. So I rehab those animals and I return them back to the wild. I don't keep any as pets. But before they go, they're always in a painting. So wildlife usually inspires everything that I do. I have a studio in my home. I paint all of the time. I have wonderful children, wonderful grandchildren. I love teaching. I love being in this town. I was born and raised in Hattiesburg, born right here. I've really never left. And you know what? I'm not gonna leave either because I love it. I want to show you one of the very first murals that was done down in the city of Hattiesburg. This is actually done near a park and it's called Mississippi Juke Band. Did you know that the Mississippi Juke Band was the first birthplace of rock and roll in the city, in the state of Mississippi? So Vixen will tell you a lot more about that. Vixen Sullivan is a very, very dear friend of mine, and he's going to come talk to you. We did this together. He sketched it out on a sheet of paper. He was not very comfortable painting, which I am, and he is more comfortable with clay, which I'm not. So we took our weaknesses and our strengths and we blended them together and came up with this mural for the city of Hattiesburg to pay tribute to Mississippi Juke Band. I'm so glad that you're here to look at this crazy wild project the city of Hattiesburg gave me. As you can see up here, it's really, really tall. It's 78 feet tall. To my knowledge, it's the tallest mural in the city of Hattiesburg. So I got to be on this like big bucket thing with a big arm and a big truck, and it took me way up, and it was very windy like it is today, and I was going like this, so I was definitely saying my prayers. But this sign up here is very important to the city of Hattiesburg because it represents all the areas around together that we work together to create the hub, and the hub is where I was born and raised. So even if you were born in one of these cities that are listed or somewhere close in between, you are part of the hub. And this particular mural is what we call a mosaic. It means little pieces that are put all together to form a picture, just like you and I are little pieces of this community, and together we all form Hattiesburg and the hub. So actually this piece was done by another artist a very, very long time ago. I believe it was 18 to 20 years ago, and in time it completely faded. And so the city of Hattiesburg asked Miss Kim if she would come and do every square over. So every single square and every dot of that has been redone to what we call revive it, okay, or restore it. That's a great word for you to learn today, restore. That means to bring it back to life. So I hope you enjoy it. The tree, I'm not real sure what the significance is of the tree, but it was fun to do.
Hello, my name is Vixen Sullivan, and I am a sculptor with an emphasis on ceramics. I started doing art as a little child. It was my thing. I wasn't really athletic or into going out or anything like that. Art was my safety, and I used it to make everything fun, from my fashion to my science projects, to give gifts and show my love to my family members. So art was my voice and my language. When I graduated college, I worked as a media consultant and decided that wasn't for me, and decided I wanted to pursue art full time. I began making ceramic items because I felt like it was something that people could use, and I felt like it was something that people in this area would buy. And so ever since then, I think that was in 2012, I've been traveling to Louisiana, Georgia, and Alabama, and here in Mississippi, selling my wares at festivals, art markets, and also have some of my stuff in stores. So today we're at 100 Evans, the building that I just purchased in 2020. It's unfinished, it's under construction, but I still come here and do a little work. This is another cool opportunity to speak to the community. So many people just travel this road, and no matter where they're going to, I'm pretty sure they want to be reminded of something positive and reminded of something that'll help them get through the day. And so I'm gonna walk you around the box telling you my intentions on everything I did. I wanted the front design to look like a playing card, and then I used symbols like the rose to represent beauty, the torch to represent light, the heart and the infinity sign to represent forever love, and then you have the man and the woman exchanging peace, which is the olive branch, And at the top, I have expect miracles, because every day we wake up, that's what we should expect. We should expect the best, we should expect miracles. And in the midst of that, again, always remember to speak up. So let's go to the other side, where we use a prominent figure, Martin Luther King, who always stood, and everyone knows him for having a dream. So once you get that dream, this is a reminder to keep that dream alive. Never let it die, no matter what, just fight for your dream and make sure that you're heard and that you're doing what you need to do to get what you want out of life. To reinforce those statements, I thought about having like street signs that says, I can, I will, and also no fear. And so those are pretty cut and dry. My hopes is that somebody will pass by and be headed to an interview and feel empowered, like I can do this, or be headed to a game or headed somewhere and be like, no fear, I got this, I can do this. And so the whole entire box has been about a person and their journey and just about the individual. But on this side, I felt like it was important to say that it's not just about you, it's about us, and that your dream is something that you have to take care of, but together we can. And so this is just a reminder that it's not just all about you and that you can do it all by yourself. It's just that leverage the people around you, have a community, and realize that together we can. So excited to talk about this project. You know, with me being a black man and it being an African-American civil rights leader, I was super excited to be involved. One thing that I really enjoyed about the process is learning from Ben Watts on how to actually do everything and the collaborative effort of it all. I learned so much. And the thing about when you do things, you never forget your input on it. So I remember doing the shoes and the code and all the details and like just moving all around the sculpture and just making it work. One thing that I thought was very, very important, and that's something that both Ben and I agreed on, is quality of work. We wanted to make sure that it looked exactly like Vernon Damon. We wanted to make sure that the family was proud of it. And when we worked, we got some things wrong, but we didn't just keep it there. We actually undid it and started from the beginning and got it right. And so that was the most important thing, is just making sure that it was something that we can be proud of when we walked away from it. This is one of my favorite projects, and the reason being because I don't get a chance to paint often, and that's why I invited my friend Kim Garraway, who paints all the time, to come and teach me what she knows, but also get a chance to collaborate and learn from one another. When I designed this mural, I was thinking about something that will fit in the space and not be necessarily distracting and go well with the community, and also something we can be proud of. This is the Mississippi Juke Band, and they're responsible for the first rock and roll rift in Mississippi. Actually, oftentimes they say that Mississippi is the birthplace of rock and roll, and these guys are a part of that. Hello, this is the Twin Forks Rising Monument. It's a bas-relief of where the two rivers intersect, the Leaf and the Bowie River. This project is super exciting because it's an opportunity to contribute to the beautification of the community. The cool thing about being an artist, you can make stuff for yourself, you can make stuff to give to a friend, or you can make stuff to better your community. And this is an example of doing something to better the community. At the entrance of Twin Forks Rising, it's 10 different entrances, and this will go at each entrance. I was super excited to be asked by Councilwoman Deborah Delgado to do this because this area has been neglected for so long, and this is an opportunity to put something in the community that people can be excited about, that they think is beautiful, and remind them of the history. These rivers intersect and they flood and cause flooding in homes, but the initiative and the plan for this project is to turn these rivers into a solution and not a problem. A place where people can go to enjoy like a river walk, eat on the river, do activities on the river, and they will no longer just be a problem, they'll be a main attraction to the area.
My name is Thomas Jackson. I'm a local musician and artist here in Hattiesburg. I moved down here in about 1994 to go to USM, where I was a graphic design major. And while in college, I got into playing music, and that kind of took precedent over doing art. And so for a really long time, I had been a musician. And then about 5 or 6 years ago, I sold a few pieces via Facebook. Like, I started just posting random pictures that I had done on Facebook, and people saw them and started asking me about them, and it just slowly grew. Last year, in the kind of the middle of the pandemic, the mayor, Toby Barker, reached out to me. He had a project in mind that he wanted to paint some signal boxes around town. These are the Graves brothers. This is Blind Roosevelt Graves. He was the guitar player and singer. This is his brother Leroy, who was also partially blind. That's why I put these sunglasses on him. And this is Cooney Vaughn playing the piano. Nobody's really sure what they look like at that time, so I kind of had to just use my imagination. They're singing into this old style microphone, and the cord comes around this way. And then over here is the recording engineer from the record label recording them onto an acetate disc. This is the first signal box I did. This was the mayor's idea. He wanted to kind of represent the zoo and the baseball field at the same time. So he had the idea of having kids and zoo animals together watching a baseball game. It goes all the way around this way. Now I put flowers on the side. This was Toby Barker's idea. It's chipped a little bit, but this was supposed to represent the heroes of Forest General Hospital. I slipped my comic book character, Rip Raymond, in here. Put his name on the name tag. So there's this side of it, and you come around this way. These are 3 more hospital workers. There's another one of my comic book characters. And then nobody ever sees this side because it's way back here, but I did some more swirls over here.
Hi, my name is Abigail Allen, and I'm an artist, and I have spent the last 15 or 16, I need to figure it out, 2006 was when I came here, years of my life here in Hattiesburg, and it saved my life. Living here literally saved my life. So I made choices in my young life that took me to amazing adventures and heights, and I also made choices in my young life that took me to very difficult crossroads, and that's what brought me to Hattiesburg. And I never thought I'd stay, and I never thought that I would love it more than anything. I'm the biggest cheerleader for this amazing town. I really am.
So this is my public art piece. I was so excited, honestly, that I had that I actually signed up to do it.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Woke up up this morning with my mind standing on Jesus. Woke up this morning with my mind standing on Jesus. Woke up this morning with my mind standing on Jesus. Hallelujah.
Thank you for joining us today for Festival South's Artie event. Be sure to tell your family and friends about it. I look forward to seeing you at another event and hope that you plan to experience the arts for years to come.
Woke up this morning.
Live stream ending.